Hello friends, it's Lisa and I'm here to bring a card video. I don't actually make that many cards because I don't ever send them out, but I just loved this card that I made and it was a total trial. I'd been reviewing these um, Faber-Castell Pitt pens and I had a blank piece of cardstock that I just covered with glossy gel medium, and I was like, I wonder if I could make like a sunset on top of that. Well, not really, because as you can see, the texture just kind of is highlighted, but it looks more like a stucco wall, like a rainbow stucco wall. So all I'm doing is just putting the color down and kind of mushing it out with my finger. You don't get a super hard color. It's not quite as bright. Your finger takes off some of the ink, but you do get a really pretty color. And you're able to kind of blend it in between colors, and it's a lot of fun. You can see in the dark areas, mainly on the right side and here at the bottom, where I didn't quite cover it the paper perfectly, so you get some nice chunky dark areas, and it really just brings out that stucco look. I I really wanted a darker color at the top since I had such a bright color at the bottom, and the darkest purple wasn't going to work, so I brought in this kind of midnight blue color. I don't know that it's darker, but it definitely worked for what I was going for. So here we go. I'm super excited. It's looking great. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to make this into a card because it was just playing around. I figured it wasn't going to look any good at all, but it looks great. And it's so simple a technique. And as you can see, the color really is really vibrant. So one of the things I just bought was this die set from Anna Griffin. I think the only place you can get it right now is on HSN. Um, I could be wrong, but I went ahead and got these dies out, and I loved them. I had to buy them when I saw them, but I wasn't sure what to do with them. So I pulled out my Crafter's Companion sparkle markers, and I I got these the same day as I got the Anna Griffin dies on HSN. They were having a craft day, like the greatest day ever. I don't know if you shop on HSN on craft day, but it's a great day to buy stuff. So I pulled them out, and they're these Sheena Douglas marker colors. She did a really great job. There's some really vibrant colors, and there's some earthy colors, and three of the vibrant colors, this pink, an orange, and a yellow, really tied in well with the background. And I wanted some kind of glitter paper to cut the dies out of, and this really worked well. I went ahead and colored the paper first instead of cutting out the die first because I felt like it would look better if I colored the die cut after cutting it out. Since these are water-based markers, the paper would it wouldn't look as crisp. You can go the other way and use a lot less of the markers, but I really wanted the die cuts to turn out well. So here you can see I'm just tracing around and then coloring it in. Super simple, and you just want to make sure when you're using these markers to shake it well so you actually get the sparkle, because I've done it where I didn't shake it and I didn't get any sparkle. So here I am heating it up and just making sure it's dry before I run it through my die cutting machine. I don't have the Gemini machine, which I would very much like. I hate hand cranking things. But I don't have one, so I cut the paper out, and look how beautiful it turns out. So gorgeous. And it's so simple too. So I just cut them out real quick, and I think you could use a lot of those inner die cuts for something. I guess, they turned out really pretty, or you could cut some small die cuts if you had them, like little hearts and stuff to save for another project. But I personally think these flourishes are amazing to add to your collection. If you've seen Anna Griffin cards, her things just always look so beautiful. But they're not really my style. I love all the things that she does and how she puts things together, but it's just not me. It doesn't scream Lisa. But I loved these flourish dies because I could take some of her beautiful items and make them mine. Next, what I'm doing is using some archival jet black ink to edge the edges. So your eye kind of goes in. I would have done this in purple. Now, don't do what I just did and make that dark spot. It was super ugly. Thankfully, it gets covered. But I would have used a dark purple if I'd had one, but I didn't. And you have to use archival because you're going onto plastic, and a simple dye-based ink like Distress isn't going to work. Now I've taken out my We Are Memory Keepers staple board. This is the first time I've used it. My sister got it for me for Christmas, and so I was like, oh my goodness, is this gonna work? Am I gonna be able to figure this out? I really like it though. It it allowed me to attach these pieces really strong, but they're still loose. When you glue something, you just glue it flat down, but here it's loose. Next, I pulled out this stamp set and went ahead and stamped down Thinking of You. I figured since I don't make a lot of cards, this would be a good, simple sentiment to have. And white heat embossed it. This is the first time I'm using the white ink. I have a lot of first time I'm using the embossing powder. And what I did is I just stamped it in Versamark ink, which is sticky ink. And then you pour this powder on and it sticks to the sticky ink. Then I'm going to use a heat tool to heat it up and emboss it. Now, if you're surprised at why I have all this new stuff, is I had a house fire a couple months ago, so all my old craft stuff is gone. So I'm getting a lot of new craft stuff. So if you hear anything like, wow, she buys a ton of craft stuff all at once, not usually. Now, I really wasn't sure what color I was going to make this sentiment. But I felt like a dark color was needed since I had such a bright pop of yellow on top. So I felt like the Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink would look the best and would really go with the kind of midnight blue purples at the top. So I'm simply just blending it in with an ink blending tool, nothing special. I'm really bad at ink blending. I just kind of push it down as hard as it goes and get it on there. And as you can see, it's looking pretty good, but you have to wipe off the ink that gets on top of the embossing, because that embossing is plastic, so it's going to resist the Distress Oxide, but the Distress Oxide may just sit on top, so you have to take like a baby wipe like I'm doing and very gently wipe it off. Now, if you want this to be exactly perfect, go ahead and use your paper trimmer. I wasn't worried about it. I was like, whatevs, That's kind of my whole card making thought is, I was just like, whatevs, it'll look fine. So I'm just simply trying to figure out how I'm gonna cut it. I was thinking about maybe doing a fishtail end on both sides, but I ended up just doing a flat end on one and a diagonal on the other. I cut it down some more. I probably would have trimmed it up a little bit better. You can see on the end card where it's not perfect, but who cares? The card isn't, one of those super simple cards where if there is a flaw, you see it right away. but I felt like another one of the staples would really tie it in. If I had gotten that staple perfectly centered, it would have looked great. I didn't. And so I decided to add another one. I I've only ever done 4 staples with this board, so I think it'll be a good stapling mechanism, and it's cool that you can staple anywhere. But I haven't mastered it. So I think it's one of those tools you have to use a little bit to get better at. Anyway, so that's the end of the card. It was super easy to make. It looks amazing in person, and I think the background you could do so many different things with. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.